Avatar: The Last Airbender is one of my favorite shows of all time. The show somehow handles being fun, dark, hilarious, and moving all at the same time. You know, everything the live action film wasn't. Either way, we're getting another live action adaptation of the series. This one is helmed by Netflix. It's hard to believe it's actually going to capture that lightning in a bottle that was the original show. Today I'm going to be recasting the characters from The Last Airbender for that live action adaptation, but one that is more representative of that original show. So not changing the humor, making the show darker and more edgy, or even aging up those characters. But before we start, I need to explain the world we're setting up. One of the many faults of the Shyamalan film is its casting, its horrendous treatment of the characters, but also its whitewashing. A lot of people online want a live-action Last Airbender, which is consistent with the show, meaning mainly Asian actors. Although I somewhat agree, to make everyone Asian isn't what I want to do. Instead, I want to kind of base those nations in reality. They have different cultures and geographic areas, so why not play into that? I want each nation to feel different and bring attention to a different race within the world itself. So therefore, I'm going to be casting actors who obviously look like the characters themselves, but also that ethnicity that I feel that fits in the world. Although it isn't a perfect translation, the air nomads, they have taken a lot of their designs and concepts from the Buddhist and Tibetan monks, while the water tribe should be based in Inuit culture and people from Aboriginal descent, since they reflect the lifestyle and their culture as well as their darker skin. As for the Earth Kingdom and the Fire Nation, they both seem to be derived from Japanese and Chinese culture. The Earth Kingdom seems to lean more to Chinese, but their culture is very diverse depending on where you are in the nation, so it matters a little bit less. While the Fire Nation, their culture and imperial nature seems to be rooted in tradition, so it kind of fits well with Japan. That being said, it's not as clear as a divide as the others, in that we're looking for actors that roughly fall into these categories, and that are from these places. But as always, race shouldn't be the trump card. If I can't find someone who fits perfectly within that region of the map, I'm obviously going to look elsewhere. Race does matter, but the best actors should get the role. As for this series, today I'll be casting the main 4 characters: Aang, Sokka, Katara, and Zuko. But in the next couple episodes, I'll be tackling the series. I will probably divide it by nation, just because if we go season by season, it's very heavily loaded on the first. I will also say I won't be getting to every single character within the series, rather I'll be focusing on the ones that I feel like really need to be portrayed by a specific actor. So let's recast Avatar: The Last Airbender. Now, before I go any further, I should say that I'd prefer complete unknowns to take on Aang, Sokka, and Katara, but because I can't audition kids, obviously I'm limited, and I did look for lesser known actors and ones that did fit the character. First up we have Aang, not Aang, like the original film called him. Now, Aang is only 12 years old, meaning when he's woken up, he should still have that mentality and be playful and silly, but still have the ability to tackle some really difficult situations. Although the kid in the live action who played Aang didn't really do a bad job, he was stripped of his fun side and didn't really represent that character that we all love. I think it's really important that we cast a young actor here. It would give us an opportunity to grow up with them. I'm with Isaac Wang for this role, who is of Lao descent, which is right in line with the regions we are hoping to cast from. He 100% has the look, and is exactly 12. He's best known for Good Boys, where he plays the cool kid in school, but I think it's in Think Like a Dog that he plays the best friend, and we can really see that comic relief coming through. You can see that playful nature that is needed for Aang.
Lee was more convincing playing Juliet than you were playing Romeo.
Aw, thank you.
I was being facetious.
Hey, a compliment's a compliment.
He would be more likely 13 or 14 by the time this is filmed, and if he did look a touch older, it probably would help, but even seeing him in these small roles, I can see he's really fun and can be silly, as well as we can grow up with him.
Are you kidding me? You're like a legend. And then we spill over good, and I'll be by your side, so your spillover will spill over to me. Hi, Lee. Lee is me. You know my name? Of course, you played Juliet in class. It's happening. It's already happening. This village is real!
He has limited credits at this time, but you can see him growing as an actor. I've watched his entire filmography, and he's getting better and better. He's about to actually have his first starring role in 2020, so I'm looking forward to seeing that. So Isaac Wang as Aang. Next up we have Katara. She needs to be a strong female character, but still be soft and sweet. She is largely understanding, willing to listen, and wants to take care of her people. But on the flip side, when she doesn't agree with something, she can be stuck in her ways and thick-headed. I want to go with a Native American for this role for the Water Tribe, and someone who is around the same age as Aang. Slightly older, but not too much older, so we can still see that love blossom. I went with Kiowentio Tarbell, who is best known for her role in Anne with an E. She plays a character who befriends Anne and is warm and feisty and strong. everything Katara needs to be.
I observe my father and brother. See this? I do it too. Many things the same. So we say, Ula na nikamak. This is who I am connected to because we are so alike.
She is soft and Anne with an E, but as the season progresses, her character really turns and becomes a lot darker. She also stars in a new movie called Beans, which I have not seen yet, but it looks like she gives a really powerful performance. She is from the Mohawk tribe, which really fits the character, and is exactly 14 years old. She has the look for the character, but more so that demeanor. She can play the harsh and soft. So Kiowentio Tarbell as Katara. As for Sokka, maybe my favorite character within the series. He was probably the worst casted from the original live-action film. Sokka needs to be a lot of things. The comic relief, the love interest for many female characters, and eventually, a warrior who comes into his own. But mainly, he needs to be a character. Now Sokka can be a little bit older than Katara or even Aang, but we still are looking for someone who's youthful. Now finding this kind of actor who is comedic, yet strong, and Native American was quite a tough find, because a large amount of the roles are stoic and serious. I know a lot of people online are looking towards Forrest Goodluck, and while I really like him as an actor, for me he just isn't Sokka. He needs to be silly, he needs to be a joke of a character, well, at least at the beginning. I think Forrest Goodluck would be really good at playing the serious side of this character, but not the silly. I want to see Sokka in all his glory, and that full transition into a warrior. I don't want a darker version of this character or someone who's super serious. Now, I watched a lot of indigenous films to track down someone, and I largely left without an actor in mind. No one exemplified exactly what Sokka needs to be, so I actually went in a different direction. I chose an actor of different descent. In a perfect world, I would have gone with someone who's indigenous, but it became very clear how little representation they have within Hollywood, making it very difficult to find an actor. Reluctantly, I went with Xolo Mardeña. He is a Mexican and Ecuadorian descent, and if you do click on Ecuadorian Americans within Wikipedia, it says they may have indigenous roots, so that's kind of a silver lining. Simply, he's the best actor I found for the role. If you've seen him in Cobra Kai, you can see him as a geek and a scrawny kid, and turn into that badass fighter who can hold his own. We've also seen a touch of his comedic side.
My guidance counselor says that certain words perpetuate this sexist worldview that could trigger— Quiet!
From now on, you won't listen to your guidance counselor. You're gonna listen to me. Is that understood?
Yes, Sensei.
Good.
He can be silly and over the top.
Ooh, who's the man? I'm the man. Oh, shit. Are you the man, too? Tell me you're the man. I'm the man! Yeah! Push the date.
But he turns into someone who has a backbone and really stands up for himself, as Sokka should.
Since when do you care about the rules? We don't take no for an answer. You said that. You gotta fight this.
He's a very similar arc to Sokka in Cobra Kai, and has a skinny frame that is needed as well. So Xolo Mardeña as Sokka. As for our main villain, who turns out to not be very much of a villain, Zuko, he has one of the best character arcs ever put to screen. While the success of the first season really relies on the 3 that were previously cast, the rest of the show relies on a good Zuko and a good transition and arc for that character. Now, Zuko obviously needs to be stern cold with little glimmers of humanity coming through. He's badass, but he's also someone who's trying to be something that he's not. Now, Zuko can be older than the others. Although he's still youthful, he's gone through a lot even before the series starts. He's much stronger than the other characters, and he already has some mastery in firebending. I think it matters more to Zuko than any other character that he has some experience in martial arts. And for some reason, to me, that voice, that Zuko voice, really matters, much more so than the others for some reason. He needs to have the right level of rasp and anger to peek through. Although he might be a little too old for this role, Brandon Suhu is made for this. He is best known for his small role in Tropic Thunder, but his voice is exactly what is needed for Zuko. He actually put together a little audition tape that really shows off his martial arts skills. But just listen to this voice.
Growing up, we were taught that the Fire Nation was the greatest civilization in history. And somehow, the war was our way of sharing our greatness with the rest of the world. What an amazing lie that was.
He has that intensity, that anger, that cold nature that is really needed. In my mind, this man is live-action Zuko.
And now, I'm ready to face you.
So Brandon Suhu as Zuko. So there are my 4 choices for the main characters of The Last Airbender. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on the next episodes. So what do you think of my choices, and who would you pick for these roles? Let me know in the comments below. As always, thank you to my patrons, Adam Gray, Jeremy Jacobs, Jenny Edwards, Gabe Marchanda, Colleen West, Marco Perry, Roland, Anna McShane, Shalon Hudson, Doris Conan, Brandon Warner, Alex Tao, Derek B. Bell, Jacob Wolf, Alexander Gardulo, Rachel Kilker, James Rogers, Archie Steffen, and Greg R. Davidson. Thank you for your support, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.